the snazzy shoes again. All right. You knew that was a house favorite. Oh, thank you, Keith. Sorry. I'm live. Okay. All right, a little bit off in the time. We'll work on that. Okay, guys, so we are live on Facebook, so take out your phones and start watching it. Although there's a delay, so you can watch it twice in case you miss something I say. And YouTube as well. Welcome, YouTube. So if you guys don't know, we go live every time I'm here on YouTube and Facebook, so that if you can't get here for some reason, you're on a date, you're working, let's say you're at like a family reunion, you're on vacation, you know, a lot of things, could be in the hospital, you know, hopefully not. You can pull out your phone and you can watch, because what's more important than this, right? So please do that. That's on Adorama on Instagram or on Facebook. In any case, I am Daniel Norton. Welcome to OnSet. What? He's giving me the face.
We're on YouTube and Facebook. Where did Instagram come from?
Did I say Instagram?
Yes.
We'll rewind that back to say. We're not on Instagram. I'd like to be, though, maybe someday. We're working on it. We're on YouTube and Facebook. I told you I need a teleprompter. All right. This is Erica.
Hi.
Right. And I'm Daniel Norton. Seth's over here on the Mighty Mix. Correcting everything when I say. And we're doing hard light and soft light today. So this is one of those things that I think is probably one of the first terms that we start hearing a lot as we're photographers and we're lighting or even just shooting is that, right? The hard light versus the soft light, right? We need soft light or we need hard light. And so what does it really mean and how can we use each thing? Because one thing they have to remember is no matter what, oftentimes when you're learning or people are teaching you, they're going to tell you to do a certain thing. And the reason why they do that is because that's kind of a standard or it's the way that maybe is the simplest way. But ultimately there's no bad light. There's bad shots that are not using the light correctly, but using hard light isn't necessarily a bad thing. It could be the best thing for a certain thing that you're doing, and the same thing is true of soft, right? So we're going to talk about what each one does, why we might use each one, and I'll kind of do some demonstration. On Erica. That's why she's here. You can stand. I'm going to have Erica just stand here the whole time, and we'll take a picture at the very end. No, we're not going to do that. I will say this, though. I'll say it now so I don't forget. I'm going to try to tell you all the equipment I'm using as I go, but I always forget after the very first time I do it, which is right now. And I'm using the Nikon Z6 today, but we're using this light panel, so we're going to use constant lights. I get a lot of questions about constant lights, you know, because we do a lot of flash photography here, so we are using constant lights. And the reason why I'm using this is because Seth's going to correct me. This is a Gemini, right? This is a Gemini 1x3. Not a Gemini, a Gemini.
2x1.
2x1. 2x1. 2 feet by 1 foot. It's an LED light. There's a special going on. Seth's going to put the link in the chat of the video. So if you guys are watching it, if you're here and you want to, it's one of these like group buy-ins. So the more people that buy, the cheaper it gets, and it's pretty cheap right now. So if you're looking for a constant light source, this is a really cool one. It does a lot of stuff that we're not going to do today, but you can do all kinds of cool stuff with it. But this is a nice LED light by Light Panels, who are, you know, the one of, if not the first LED people. So, okay. That's going to be our soft light. Now, you knew that already. No, you didn't know, did you? Why is this a soft light?
Diffused?
Because it's diffused. You can leave now. Sorry. No. Yes.
Large source?
Because it's large, exactly. Relative to Erica, I already said we're making photos of Erica, right? So you're the size of your light relative to your subject determines how hard or soft it is. So I already made a point that we're photographing Erica. Erica's head's only about this big. This light is this big. So it's soft. It's relatively soft. It's not going to be super soft because it's not like a 6-foot octagon, right? But it's, you know, 1x2. So that's bigger than your head.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So we had to, actually when I was casting for this, I had to like look for people whose head was small enough to, and Erica's head is actually just perfect. So she has like a good average head size. So yeah, there you go. Anyways, and then we're also going to use, for our hard light source, we're going to use the Dado Light D87, which is got like a 2-inch lens. So 2 inches is smaller, right? Smaller than her head. Yep. So that's harder, right? There we go. Thank you, Erica.
You're welcome.
All right. So they'll get it by the end. So hopefully. So when we're going to go through these things. So so that's that, right? You're done, right? You already know which one's soft and hard. You can leave. What does that mean, though, right? What's truly the reason why it matters or that we talk about it? what you're talking about when you're talking about hard or soft light is your shadow transition, okay? The area that goes from your kind of middle or neutral, right? Let's say skin tone in the case of a portrait, to your shadow, right? A hard light has a hard, dramatic transition. A straight line usually, right? Almost no gradation. A soft light has a soft transition. It glides into the shadow. Depending on how soft it is and depending on everything, you might not see anything, right? You might look almost shadowless because of how big of the transition or gradient it'll be. So that's essentially the difference. So what's a hard light going to do is it's going to create basically a lot of and really abrupt shadow, right? That doesn't mean you don't have shadow with soft light. It just means that the gradation in the shadow is more subtle. So what does shadow do, right? What does having a lot of shadow do? It brings out texture, right? So a hard light is going to bring texture. It's going to bring shape and form, right? So if you're shooting something that you want texture in, let's say garments, right? Or, God forbid, if you're skin, right, and you want texture, right? The hard light's going to do that. If you want to hide or remove texture, let's say skin in like a more glamoury kind of thing, or try to soften somebody's skin or make it less, less wrinkles, less whatever, then softer light's going to work better for that, right? So this is why we're going to make our choices. So immediately when people start shooting, oftentimes they're telling you to use a softer light because generally speaking, people don't want lots of texture coming out on their skin. So that's why people would opt for that when you're making certain kinds of portraiture, especially general portraiture. Whereas hard light can actually be really good for portraits because it will help shape the face and create a lot of character. So it depends on the look you're going for, and we're gonna, like I said, do both. So let's start with the soft light though, I guess, right? Why not?
Erica loves soft light.
Yeah, Erica loves soft light. What kind of tripod is this again?
Colorado.
This is a Colorado tripod. Seth gave it to me. We'll see what happens. Right. All right, I'm gonna turn the light on. So, nothing happened. Did I unplug it?
Did this get dead? Oh, nice start. Nice start.
Live theater.
Well, no, we have power because look.
We're unplugged.
Ah, there we go. Oh, there it is.
First, make sure the light's plugged in.
All right. Step number 1, plug light in. Step number 2, blind audience. Okay.
It's so bright on my hat.
It is so bright, we're not going to have it turn up this light. All right, I'm going to turn it down. It's so bright.
How?
We're not going to be doing that.
And I still
All
have
right.
soft light, but
Yeah. So that goes to answer one question or misconception that we often have, right? Is that people think that a softer hardness has to do with exposure, and it does not, right? Bright does not necessarily mean hard or soft, right? Brightness of your light has nothing to do with that. That's another class. We'll do bright versus dark. No, we probably can't pull that off. That'd be good though. No, that won't be enough. All right, so we won't do that. You'll just have to live with it. So how bright it is has nothing to do with nothing. I mean, it has to do with your exposure, clearly, but not with the hardness or softness. Now, it is hard size relative to your subject, right? So like I mentioned, okay, Erica's, torso or head is our subject. So, but remember that when things get further away from you, they become smaller relatively, right? Meaning that if I take this light and I put it further and further away, it will become harder and harder. And if I take a smaller light source and I move it closer, it will become softer and softer to a certain point. At a certain point you reach, this 3-inch light is never going to be really soft because I can't get it close enough to cover a whole head and be soft. But if I was photographing something very small, like a ladybug, right, then it would be huge, right? To a ladybug, a 3-inch light is gigantic, right? I mean, every ladybug that I've ever seen. I mean, maybe there's big ladybugs, I don't know, but giant ladybugs? No, I don't think so. No. All right. So, the fireflies are out, by the way. I was thinking about fireflies, but you wouldn't really light a firefly because it has its own light.
Dragonflies are out.
Yeah, and dragonflies too. All right, you could light a dragonfly if you'd like. All right, anyways, that's enough bug talk. We'll do that for the macro class. So let's just make some pictures and see. Now, because I'm using constant light, we're going to do things a little bit differently, right? Normally, if you guys have come here before, we usually set up our exposure with the black frame, right? We get rid of all the light in the space because we only want to use our flash. The one kind of or one of the limitations to the constant light is, relatively speaking, it's not going to be that bright, right? So if we had all these lights turned on like we normally do, it would start interfering with my shot. So Seth has turned them off for me, because he's very nice like that.
You have plenty of light there.
We got plenty of light, he said. Sounds like my father. We got plenty of light, you don't need more light.
We got ice cream in the fridge.
Right, exactly. Exactly. All right, so I feel like I just keep moving things around. If I just keep moving around, we should do like a time lapse on this. All right.
Temperature of light.
All right. It is not very hot because it's an LED. Oh, the temperature of the light is, we're setting it at daylight right now because that's, or 5500. I'm setting both lights the same. It doesn't really matter as long as you set your camera to be appropriate. So I'm going to move my light closer. Moving my light closer is going to make it softer. That's right. Okay, so because I threw you out earlier, we'll talk about diffusion for a second. All right, so diffusion. This is a super, super common misconception, so it's good that you brought it up. I actually told him to say it on purpose so that we would, is that, so when you diffuse a light, it scatters it. Diffusing the light affects the highlights. A diffused light has more, less contrast in the highlights, right? However, if you put diffusion in front of a light, oftentimes it makes it bigger. Right, it makes it bigger. So because it's bigger, so if I take something like a softbox, like if you guys are used to using flash or anything else, or if you just happen to have a little baby softbox, this little softbox goes onto my light that I just showed you, my 3-inch or 2-inch dado light. Probably closer to 2 inches. If I put this in front of my dado light, right, it makes it bigger, right, which makes it softer. It also diffuses it, right? Because the front of the light, right, the piece of diffusion becomes my light source. Now I'm looking at a 1 foot square. This is why when you put diffusion in front of a light, oftentimes it makes it soft because it's making it bigger. But if you were to put a piece of diffusion that was the same size as the light, like if I cut a little piece of diffusion and I put it right against the lens, it would not make it softer. It would just make it diffused, right? And sometimes you want that, right? Like if I want to use a hard light because I'm trying to have shape and form, but let's say I'm blowing out highlights, I want to reduce my contrast, then I might diffuse the light and not make it softer. So there are times that you might want to do that. And in fact, you could have a hard light that was not diffused, a large soft light that was not diffused, like a silver beauty dish. Silver beauty dish is relatively small, especially if I back it up. It is not diffused unless I put something in front of it, which means that it is going to be, hard and, did I say that backwards? Yes. You can be soft and not diffused. Not diffused is specular. I had to get that word out. That way we got it all. So now we have all our words, right? We got hard, we got soft, we got specular, we got diffuse, right? That's all we got for today, 4 words. I won't say anything else but those 4 words. No, I can't do that, can I? All right. So let's look at Erica's shadow on the wall, right? We can see that her shadow is diffused, right? Because it is a soft light. We can see it goes back, the transition, oh my hand, to shadow from neutral is actually, pretty slow. If she gets closer to the wall, see? You see how the edge becomes harder, right? Because the light, in fact, is becoming harder the closer she gets to the wall. When she gets closer to the light, it becomes even more diffuse, right? It's down there now, but you can see it, right? Part of that is the wraparound, but part of it is that, that's it, the back and forth, right? Normally I move the light, but I'm being super tired today, so I'm just going to make her move back. But you can see, right? So the distance does make a difference. Even that little bit of a distance makes a difference. That's why oftentimes when you're making portraits and you're going for a soft light, which is what a lot of people will do, I say, and a lot of people say, put the light as close as you can. Now, let's take, for instance, a movie set. Let's go a different direction for a second. If I was lighting a movie set and I wanted the light to be relatively soft, but I had to light this entire set, let's say we were lighting all of this, right? I can't put my light right next to her because it'd be in my shot, right? So what do? I put it far away. But if I put it far away, what do I have to do? If I want it to be soft, I have to use a huge light source. This is why oftentimes in movie sets, if you see the behind the scenes, they're using these gigantic silks because it's so far away, it needs to be so big to stay soft, right? There you go. Taught filmmaking and everything. I taught that right there. Boom, a little bonus, no charge for that. All right, here we go. Let's make a picture. So, if we want to light somebody with soft light, we want to think about a couple of things. It has a couple of benefits to us using a large light source. It makes it easier for us. One is that I'm going to actually should I light it from the other side? I'm going to light it from the other side because otherwise I'm going to blind you guys. You couldn't give me a roller stand. All right. So, she's going to come here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can be like, no, you're good. Yeah, you can step back a little bit. I know it's weird. No, you're facing me. You don't have to look at the light.
Got
There you
it.
go. You can back up a little bit. I'm blinding her today.
Yeah,
We
it's
had a
like
whole kind of thing
definitely
going.
blinding.
Yeah. So what?
Your eyes feel.
They're still in my head.
Right. She's doing all right. Don't worry. When we hit you with that light, you'll be all right. All right. So what we can do is we can put our light close, and we can actually take the light. And you probably notice, you probably see me do this a lot. I'm not going to point the light right at her, right? Because that's generally not how you want to light somebody. We want to throw light onto her, and we want to be able to bounce light around and kind of fill in shadows and stuff. We're going to do that. So what I want to do is I want to do what they call feathering the light. I want to use the edge of the light, right? I'm still getting a nice soft source on her, but a lot of my light's coming over here so that when I'm talking to you guys, I look nice. Like I'm lit up. I'm like, hey, I look good. So you want to think about yourself, right? You don't always just think about the model. No, so this gives me light that I can bounce, right? So if I have, let's say, reflector, easy. Easy peasy, right? Cool. Let's take a picture. So when using a constant light source, I think I'll just use the meter in my camera. So when you're looking at your camera, or through your camera, don't just look at your camera, you should probably look through it. And you can see there's a little meter inside, right? A little up-down meter on the side, tells you the exposure. Actually, I need to be lower. There we go. So because this is a mirrorless camera, meaning it doesn't have a mirror, I'm setting my setting around 35 millimeters, because people always ask me that. And I'm going to basically look through the camera, and I'm going to look at the exposure. I am at wow, really? Okay. I'm at f18. I don't know why I would be at f18. So I was at f18. Okay, the camera is not set so I can see my exposure, so I'm just going to use the meter on the side. So I'm using the meter, and I'm going to move that meter till it equals the 0 in the center. So basically, right now I'm at f4, 1/125th of a second at 100 ISO. This is what the meter is telling me is the correct exposure in my camera. When you're using the meter in your camera, you're still using a light meter. So people are like, I never use a light meter. Yeah, you do actually, right? So this is what it's telling me is the right exposure. I'm going to take a look and see. It's never failed me before. We'll see. It probably has. There we go. Take a picture. Perfect. Oh, that's actually pretty good. Well done. All right.
You want it?
Was that a meter? Yeah, we can use the regular light meter too. So right now I'm set. I'm at flash white balance. I always keep my camera at flash white balance because I'm normally using flash. But since we're at 5500, I'm actually going to come in here, and I'm going to change. I just took a class on this, so everything is messed up because I was moving it around on the class. It's not messed up now; it's correct. There we go. Now she's properly white balanced. So what's cool about this is, right, when you're using equipment that's very well calibrated, like a nice high-end light, I can just type in 5500 and I can be pretty certain it's there. I don't need to do a custom white balance or whatever. You can if you want, if you feel all fancy. But I think we're good. That's pretty good, right? There's still shadow here, right? Right, but we can see the blend, right? From her nose, so here we are, shadow down to neutral, right? And then neutral down to shadow. See, it's drifting in, right? It's more soft, it's more subtle. Now, I'm using the edge of the light. If I want to neutralize the shadow more, I could actually bring her face. It's going to blow you away. If she turns, right, exactly. She knows how to do this. All you got to do is hire Eric. You're basically done, right? So think about this. We want to use shadow, right? Because we like the way that it shapes the face. But let's say we don't like the shadow on the side of her nose. I know it's crazy. If she moves her face, right, the shadow position is going to change. It's crazy. It's nuts. Right, so I look, and she's looking towards the light now. And I take a picture, and there she is, right? Shadow's still there, but now maybe it's in a nicer position for us, right? And there we go. Right? It's all about just putting it in the right spot, right? Move the light around till it looks good. Take the picture. You're good to go. I mean, that's all there is to it, right?
Just curious about I've never been on front of the light. So I'm wondering if when she's in front of the light, does that really hurt the eyes of the subject?
Does the bright light affect the subject? Does it hurt them? No. I mean, this light is not brighter than the sun. People stand outside, right? Don't look right at it, just like the sun, right? This is actually, I'm at 125 at f4. The sun would be f16, right, at 250, so f22. So this is much, much darker than the sun. I'm sure it's bright, but you get used to it after a minute, right? We just joke, but I mean, compared to a flash, it's going to be bright. But otherwise, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Now, some LED lights, this is actually kind of a good point. If you have like these little LED panels, especially the little ones, they're all full of, that are not diffused, right? Those oftentimes hurt people's eyes because they're tiny little point sources shining in somebody's eye. This is a diffused, right? Diffusing the light makes it more gentle. So that's one way to handle that. Okay, that's soft, right? Good, we got that, right? So nice and simple. Now we can use soft to still be shadowy. So let's have her turn away from the light, right? And we'll use some shadow. Right, she can turn, yeah, let me come back a little bit right there, good. Right, and then there we go, we can use shadow to create some drama for your mama, right? And we can do that, right? So we're just moving her face around. Oh, but you can't, oh, that's weird. Oh, what, shift, right?
Space. Hold space.
Space, okay, we just learned this, which is very good. Nope.
What are you trying to do?
I'll make them all get big. There we go, shift. There we go. Just learned that.
Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Okay, so we can shape the face, right? We can control where the shadow falls and what we want to get, right? Based on just moving her around, or moving the light around, obviously, relative to our subject, right? Make sense? Now, if you love that look of the shadow, but it's maybe too dark, that's when fill comes in, right? Seth does an amazing class on fill light. You guys check it out. See? Yeah, well, we should do it again. So fill is basically going to come in. This will never be, so I'm stealing this from you. This will never be brighter than our main light, right? The reason why we're using the board is because if the light has to go past her, bounce off this, and then go back, it's never going to be as bright. So we can bring it in, and it'll fill in the shadow without removing it completely, so it won't look unnatural. That's why I come in, so I can still stuff. Yep.
Right here?
Yeah, but that's going to be in the shot, though. Let me see. I'll have to do it because I'm doing horizontal today because I'm being cool. All right, here we go. Nice. Right now we can fill it in. Right. It's not bad. It's touch hot, but you know, it's nice. More or less in focus. Nice, good. Considering I was shooting left-handed.
Yeah, I just want you to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like this weird, like. All right. Anyways. So soft, and we're filling it in, right? This is going to become a lot more relevant when we start using the hard light, maybe because we might want to fill in the shadows more. But if you're trying to have shadows that are more gentle, using a softer light is going to be the way to go. It's just going to start you off in the right direction, right? That's why you're going to want to do that. Make sense so far? All right, let's actually, I probably can't float this over her head, right? So I'm not going to do that.
Well, you can boost it and drop it down.
Yeah, I'll just come from the front a bit with it. All right, we're gonna try to put this a little more central to create a little bit more like more of a how you might use this kind of shot. So, because we know, and knowing is half the battle.
It's on. What'd you hit?
I hit the pause button. All right, so. Because we know we're going to throw a shadow, right? Even if it's a soft shadow, we want to control the direction of the shadow, the feel of the shadow, the look of the shot. That's what we're here for. That's why we're photographers. We're creating our light. So generally speaking, for women especially, having the light more in the center of the face is more pleasing, creating what they call the butterfly effect. No, that was a movie, right? No. Yeah, the butterfly light. Yeah, wasn't that a movie? That was one movie. Okay. Yeah, it's like that. It's just like that. Basically, it's creating shadow going down, right? Shadow going down is going to throw the shadow here. It's not going to put shadow from the nose, making that kind of, there couldn't possibly be a question about that. I can't believe it. There's no way there's a question about the butterfly effect. That was the most clear thing I've ever said in my life. There couldn't possibly be a question. Come a little forward. Yes, go ahead, sir. What's your question?
He's going to let you answer the question now.
What is it? Go. I'm listening. Yeah.
Oh no, I was wondering what's the difference between that and flat lighting?
What is the difference between that and flat lighting? Wow. I'm not sure what you mean by flat lighting. Lighting that is flat is lighting with very little shadow. Butterfly is the direction of the light. All right, good. I've heard that cool photographers just stand back like this, like this. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Right? Now this is more of a butterfly pattern. So the thing about flat lighting, as you say, when somebody says they want it to be flat, they mean they want the shadows to be filled in a lot. Flat lighting would have filled in shadows. This is not flat. This is bumpy. I don't know what the opposite of flat is. All right. So that looks nice, right? That's not terrible. Well done.
Thanks.
What do we got here? Reflector, right? Silver reflector? Brooklyn reflector, that's right. Oh man. We're about to see specular highlights. Get ready for it. Right? Fill, right? Silver fill. Look at, not in a creepy way, look at like her neckline and everything here, right? We can see this highlights coming up. That's because she's shiny, right? She's got lotion or whatever on. Silver is going to amplify that. If we switch to white, it should make it a little bit less. Well, it's like you just have a natural glow.
I'm just glowy.
She is just glowy. She's a glowy person. So we want to be a little weary of that when we're shooting. Yeah.
That's what it is. Model
There we go.
light.
See, it brought it down a bit, right? So we want to be wary of that because if you look at this, not to be like this area here is like very, and then we look at this, you see it like kind of, see this area here between our highlights and our neutral is more subtle. It doesn't get rid of it. Nothing is magic. This is the one thing you have to understand. Nothing's going to complete, well, I should put it next to each other, right? It's the subtlety that is going to make the difference, right, for you. Look at the transitional line here versus here, right? And look at the highlight. You see the difference? Yeah. That's the difference between diffuse and specular right there, right? Subtle. And it makes a difference when it needs to, right? Because in this case, it's not, she wasn't so shiny that it was like a problem. But if it was, you know, that would definitely help. So this light here, right, versus this light, one of them is flatter than the other. One of these lights is flatter than the other. Right? You see the difference, right? Flat versus not flat. I'm not sure. Is there a word for not flat, Seth? Bumpy? Dimensional. Sculpted. I like sculpted.
That's what, we do a whole demo in sculpted, right?
Well, we do. I just never thought to call it that.
Shiny.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was gonna-
Yeah. So when you have this and you have an audience, you can be like, oh, all right. So, yeah, don't give them all toys. So we're understanding the soft light, right? We're doing the easy one first. So this is the soft light, right? The soft light is giving us. Whoop. All right, I'm going. Seth's checking me. I feel like I didn't do it. Right. So soft, right? It's going to make it's going to give us a shadow area that is diffused. It's not as defined. It's going to drop down, right? It doesn't mean you don't have shadows. I'm purposely making the light more shadowy to show you because one thing that I see a lot is people will say, I have a softbox, but for some reason, my light is still shadowy.
That's my fault. We gotta swap mics.
We're going to swap mics. This is awesome. Get ready for it, guys. Just because you're using a soft light does not mean you will not have shadows, right? If I put a small flash on top of my camera and I stand 10 feet away from you and you're standing 5 feet away from a wall or whatever and I hit you with light, there'll probably be a shadow on the background, but you'll probably not have a shadow on your face because the light is coming directly from there. It's going behind you, right? But it'll still be terrible light. Okay, pausing. All right, so, this one. Yeah, but I gotta put it, we should switch, okay. All right, hold on.
Sorry, online audience. We're changing the mic because you keep on telling me how it's crackling.
Okay, so apparently somebody online wasn't happy with the microphone, so we had to change it. Sorry, guys. Sorry, online person. We didn't mean to crackle you. All right, that's how we do it. Let me start over because the sound was bad at the beginning. I'm Daniel Norton. Welcome to. No. All right, so soft light. Questions so far? This is like you're like I didn't come here for the soft light. Here's the thing, and I'm not saying that if you're just starting to light that you shouldn't just go right to soft light because that's probably what people are going to tell you to use. But the reality is that if you're used to shooting in the sun, that's a hard light, right? If you want to start using the comparison, if you shoot in the shade, that's a soft light, right? So yeah, putting somebody in the shade gives you a lot more control in a sense because you can't control where the sun is, right? But when we're lighting something, we have all the control in the world. So we can use a hard light and put it in a place that's going to work for us and make the shot that we want to make. So let's use some hard light. This is the light panel. If you guys, Seth put a link. I've mentioned it now twice. So now I get 10 cents. Does this shift color? Absolutely. You mean like turn colors? This can be like any color. It's pretty awesome, actually. We actually did a video.
Yeah, and actually has gels plugged into it.
Yeah, and this gel, it's pretty awesome. We're not gonna, if we get done fast enough, we'll do a color with it.
Actually, we have the go hands-on studio video.
Oh yeah. We've used this a lot actually. You've guys probably seen this before. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. He likes to put that sandbag on there to make me work for it. Ooh, see what smashed my head there?
Want me to bend down?
No, please. Please don't.
I'm really strong. It doesn't look like it,
No, that's not the reason why. All right. So. Oh, nice fade. All right. This is the Data Light DLED7. This is a small light. Again, I'm going to turn it on, put my hand in front of it so that we don't blind her. We are having a terrible day with the lights. What is going on with these lights? There we go. All right.
It's the 6th.
Okay, this one you can also change the color temperature. I'm going to put it to 55. All right, so we're matching. All right, what do we immediately see here? Right? Looking at the shadow on the wall. Even from this distance where when she was before, right, she had like a nice soft shadow on the wall. Now she's got a crispy one even at this distance, right? I can focus the light, by the way, which I'm doing. Focusing does not change if the light is hard or soft, okay? Focusing changes the focus, right? Okay, so I'm going to point at the audience to blind you guys for a second. And now let's work with our hard light. So we got, I feel like I'm saying so a lot. Do I always say so a lot or is it just today? You can tell me, just today. Okay, all right, good. Whew. You realize something about yourself in the middle of a live stream. It's like, what's going on here today? All right, here we go. I'm trying to be. All right, this is equipped with barn doors. Barn doors will allow me to control where the light falls, right? So if I want to control it like that, oh, one of my hairs is in there. All right, but I'm not going to use those right now. So we want to use hard light. Hard light, we're going to do a similar thing, and then we'll start crafting it just like before. So let's put it kind of in more or less in the same spot, more or less. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Got my. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to point the light at her. I'm going to look through the camera, and I'm going to make an adjustment. This light, I think, is not quite as bright. Yeah. So I'm going to adjust my ISO up to 400 just to make my life easier. Yep. And then I'm going to go. So I'm literally just using the meter in the camera. I'm going to go to F5, 400 ISO. We'll see what it does. Now, the meter in the camera is going, oh, actually did a pretty good job. I was going to say it might have a harder time with this because this light source is, you know, I'm shooting over this wider shot and she's lit in the middle, right? But it's a bit overexposed, but not by much. It did a pretty good job. Go Nikon. All right, so I'm going to go to F5.6. So we can see here, though, that immediately, I mean, it's not exactly the same thing, but. Right, we can see this hard edge, right, versus the soft edge on the nose, right? Soft? Because you were probably looking at that soft at the beginning and you were like, I don't know, Daniel, that doesn't look that soft. But you clearly did not know how hard I was going to go, right? Yeah, check out her eyelashes, right? It's throwing the shadow from her eyelashes, boom, right? It's gonna, and that might be great, it might be terrible. So you need to make sure you know that when you're doing it, right? This thing is throwing the sharp, crisp shadows, right? It's showing the detail, right? Everywhere. And, you know, we like detail.
Yeah, her lips.
Yeah, like we can look at the lips.
You can see that there's no
Yeah, and look under the lip. We can see this line here. We can see all these specular highlights. So we're noticing, right, that the hard light is going to bring out that detail. That just means we need to be more self-aware to those to where the shadow is going to fall, right? Because that might be great that we love that detail, but maybe we're not loving that, you know, that nose shadow. So again, we're just going to have to, I know it's crazy, just have to move the model or the light, one or the other. So look off towards the light like this. Yeah, exactly. Right? And now, right, again, we moved it, right? So now we have that texture that we like, right? But the shadow is minimized because we've moved it, right? We've moved essentially what's throwing the shadow, which is her nose. But really everything in the shot is throwing a shadow. We can see here, sorry Erica, every little imperfection in her skin, not that Erica is imperfect in any way, is gonna show up. So we need to be aware of that, right? So if we get somebody in front of us that, let's say, has a lot of blemishes or a lot of wrinkles and we don't wanna show that, right? We wanna, maybe a softer light's gonna be the way to go. We really have to think about that when we're choosing our light source, right? A lot of times, you might just say, hey, you know what? I really love this light. I'm just going to use it. But that's not necessarily going to create the best shot for that situation, right? That's why we have a lot of tools. It's easy to say, oh, this is how I do something. But the way you should be doing things is using the right tool or you crafting your light to be correct for the subject that you're shooting at that time. This is why we want to have a lot of different tools. We want to learn how to use them and decide. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so let's do something else. Let's do the overhead. Oh, we'll do the sideways shot. Yep. There we go. That's always good. Yeah, perfect. Good. Refocus. Good. Oops. Oh, it took two. A little double tap there. No extra charge for the second one. Right? Now we've got, again, same kind of thing with the eye cut out, right? But look at that hard line, right? Look at it. Look at it, right? You can see it. Sorry, I got excited there. Now, one downside to this is that we're not going to have as much light to play with, right? That's where we have to be extra cautious about what I said, about giving yourself that feather so you can play with it. So I have something. If you just pointed this right at her, we'd have nothing. You'd have nothing, Erica. Go ahead and put your hand down.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're okay. There we go. I'm doing my left. It did focus on the tip of your nose, so your eyes might be out of focus, and that would be terrible. No, it's enough depth of field there. Right? Again, we can still fill it in, right? So we've got the fill. It's a little hot, yeah. It's not flat. It's still a little bit hot. So I'm gonna actually give myself, I'm gonna go down to 200 ISO. Even though it has a lot of ISOs in this camera, you know what? I'm being a rebel. I'm gonna go to 320. I know. Not a lot of people use 320 these days. Back in the day, 320 was the way. There we go. 320 is the ISO that you want. Mark that down in your book. Write that down, 320. I like that you actually didn't write it down. Good. There we go. Let me just change my focus point. Here. Is this touchscreen? Guess not. Okay. I use a lot of cameras. Hold on, my reflector's in the shot. I use a lot of cameras. I don't know which ones do that. All right. Yeah. So there we go. We can fill in, right? Better exposure. Still sharper even though it's focused on your nose. All right. Got that, right? Easy. Hard light. We can still bring the shadows away with fill, right? Fill is going to be our key no matter what we're using, right? But the hard light's going to help us shape the face. It's going to help bring out that detail. Questions so far? Does it make sense, or it's just like it's like you have no idea what's going on? You're like, what is happening here right now? I do not know. But at least it's not as hot as it is outside.
Yeah, it's good they use highlights.
Well, not that hot. They're LEDs.
No, I haven't seen
Anybody who's been following me is probably like going, why is Daniel using LEDs? Sometimes, you know, technology changes. All right. Let's shape. I'm not going to do every shot we did before because I'm getting bored. So I'm going to just do this. I'm easily distracted. Let's make a better shot. So if I want to use hard light, I really want to think about shape and form. I'm going to do more of a sideways shot, I think, because you know I love your profile. Oh, actually, yeah, that's what I want. Perfect. Let me see it this way. Oh, yeah. See, she did her hair on the other side to blind you guys. I knew it.
What?
No, it's okay. Because I want you to, yeah.
What's wrong? I can
No, you're
feel it.
okay. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Please, I'm malleable.
You are malleable. The versatility of Erica is unheard of in your typical New Yorkian. All right, here we go. Good. So I'm looking at my meter. It actually shows me underexposed. I want to see what this says because I think we have no adjust. Oh yeah, that's okay. So, okay, here's the thing. When you're using a meter in your camera or any light meter, right? Once you get yourself set up a way that works for you, Like, remember we were shooting and I was like, it was a little overexposed, so we adjusted. Now when I'm looking at the meter, I'm underexposing it by a third on purpose because I know that I like it underexposed by a third. That makes sense? The meter, I'm about to get the question, the hate statements on the, you go ahead, start typing them now, people. When you use a light meter, it's not perfect. Nothing is perfect. It's going to give you what it thinks is the right exposure. It's doing the best it can. This goes for TTL. This goes for handheld meters. This goes for the meter in your camera. This goes for even a histogram. It's only going to give you what mechanically it thinks is correct. You are in control. You have to decide yourself what is actually the correct exposure. So I think, based on the way I want this to look, 1/3 under is how I want it. So now when I'm lighting, I'm setting my meter to 1/3 under. So don't be a, blind follower to the meter. Blind follower? No? Okay, I don't know. All right, so now, right, we're using hard light, right? Because if this was the sun, right, it coming through a window, well, if it was the sun coming through the window, it would be dark behind her, but that's whatever. We know, right, that has to do with fall off, right? Inverse square, blah, no? Okay. So this is hard light coming down, shaping the face. It's creating form, right? Soft light would not be this dramatic. Also, the big, huge soft light, it would have scattered everywhere, right? And it would have lit our background. You notice that she's cut out against a background in a small space because I have control. Smaller light source, closer, it's going to give you control. This is also true of the softbox. If I put a softbox really, really close to her, I would also gain control. And I'd have dramatic fall off, right? So it's a trait. So let's say that she had bad skin, which she doesn't, and I wanted this kind of look. I could do it, get it close, using my soft source just by putting it really close to, what's that? Vanessa Joy, she's the side of Erica or not me?
Yeah. Ask her if she has any rattlers.
Oh. Is she going to show up with a wedding dress? Vanessa Joy's watching. Yeah, I saw that. All right. Anyways, if you guys don't know, Vanessa Joy, amazing wedding photographer and teacher for Adorama. So she does stuff for us. Check it out. All right. So
Bride every once in a while.
yeah, she makes Erica a bride. All right. So that's hard light. We like that, right? Okay. So exposure compensation in your camera. I'll talk about this for a minute. Doesn't work on manual. Doesn't do anything on manual. If you're shooting in manual, exposure compensation doesn't do anything. That's all I'm going to say. No, I should explain.
Changes the meter.
In manual?
Well, because you're underexposed, so you're following that meter in manual.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Big, I learned something new. I always thought it was only for the automatic modes. Let's see if that's true. I'm going to test it. You say that's true, I'm going to try it.
That's one thing.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't know that.
You should shift the meter over so that.
Stay still, please. I'll say you're right. Okay, it shifts the meter, it looks like. It's hard to say because she's moving slightly in the shadows. It doesn't look like it's doing anything, but I don't use exposure compensation when I'm using manual. What it's for, in my opinion, is when you're in like aperture priority. You're in aperture priority, same situation. That's when you use exposure compensation because the camera is making the choice, right? So you gotta tell it, hey man, or ma'am, if you have a female camera, hey, I don't like that. Can you make it a little bit darker? And then it'll do it. But in manual, never use it. Plus, if you set it in your camera, like I just did, you're inevitably going to forget that it's set. So, and then you'll be screwed when you use it thoroughly. So, I don't use it. I just use my brain. I don't use my brain for much. That I use my brain for. All right. So what we really want to do is actually let's do one more thing. For all those people that want to do the quote Hollywood glamour type thing, right? That's basically what we've got here. The key light for it, right? We've got these hard lights, right? That's what they were using. They were using lights from movie sets, which are hard, focusable lights. So if we want that style of light, we want to use hard light. We're not going to do exactly that because I don't do that. Plus, I only have one light, and we need more than one. But what I am going to do is I'm going to do one more shot of Erica, because I need it for my Instagram. Excuse me while I shoot something for my Instagram. All right, I'm going to put it in the middle. Oops. Every time I use a broken C-stand, every single time. So, a couple of things here, right? I'm backing the light up so I can control where my shadow falls because I don't really want it in my shot so much. I'm already using the hard light. It doesn't matter, right? I can back it up as far as I need to. I'm going to lose some exposure, right? So you notice I'm further away than I was with the soft light, which kind of almost doesn't make sense on some level. But you're thinking about that. I know, it's already hard. It's not really going to get any harder for the most part. The only way to get a harder shot is to use the hard box. Sometimes we have to use the hard box, because now I've mentioned it twice. Has anybody here used the hard box? All right, no, we got to use it. If Cliff can get us one. Oh, look at that. I've created almost like angel wings behind you. On purpose, of course.
Duh.
Huh. All right. This is so interesting because the camera is doing that thing where it like corrects the exposure for you, so it's completely wrong. This is why I have to use my meter. Yeah, I got to turn that off, but I don't know. That's all right. I just use my. I'm going to use my brain. I'm going to go to 1250 ISO because that's what the kids do. Good. All right, I'll take a shot. I didn't tell her, so it's going to be a weird. Oof. All right, it's a little hot. I'm also going to get closer, but all right, good, perfect. Good. That was a test shot. Now we're going to go a little bit down on the ISO to there. I'm going to zoom in. I have a zoom lens. I know it's pretty cool, right? I'm going to make these lenses now that zoom. I'm going to cut off part of her head like I always do. Put her to the one side. Good, good, good. There we go. Nice. All right. Right, we can see, right? Look at the crispness of this, right? That's the difference, right, between our soft light, which was very nice. The soft light was also very nice. Each one has, and the spread is also different, yeah. I got to remember to do this now. This is very exciting. Oh, you can only do it in the hand tool, though. There we go. Right, so we can see the difference, right? Soft light is changing her face, the way her face looks completely, right? The soft, I mean, I'm also using a slightly longer lens, but you can see how it shapes her face different, right? It's dropping in quickly, right? The shadows, not just this shadow, which is the one you guys are obviously looking at. You're like, oh, the shadow on her neck. Every bit of shadow, all the shadow on the side of her face, everything is harder, which makes her face, you know, tighter. Especially since we use a longer lens, which would have made her face wider.
Can you do it with a mouse?
Can I do it with the mouse?
Bounce.
Oh, you want to see it with the mouse? What do you think? Specular? Huh? Diffused? Specular? I'm going to keep getting. You should never open your mouth within the first minute because that's the only thing I remember the whole day. Oh, well, it's scary. Oh, wow, that's kind of fun. Oh, look at that. Oh, look, can we make a double shadow? Oh, that's pretty neat. Come hold this. Don't screw it up. People are watching. Just like that. Is that how I had it? No. There you go. We're creating art here, man. Good. Nice. Well done. A little hot. A little hot. I blame the audience member. I'm going to drop the ISO. I'm shooting at like a gazillion ISO. It's kind of funny. 800 ISO. Let's go to 500. There we go. There it is, right? So this is kind of interesting, right? Look at the background, right? Excellent job with the background there. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Well done.
He gets a clap.
Always. So because Seth screwed up this board,
Oh, you're such a dick. You messed up my own board. You keep wrecking them.
I mean, the board is not even, right? It's basically beat up, right? Because somebody keeps coming in here on Thursdays and special, right? But because of that, it's throwing the light all around, right? That's giving us kind of this cool background effect, which I'm kind of digging on. I'm digging on it. I'm dig. That's it. I dug it. I dug. Nice.
I'm making any more boards for you.
I love that board. Thank you.
Yeah.
Seth made that for me for my birthday.
That's why it's so old. That's why it's so old.
What does that even mean?
We went through many birthdays.
All right, anyways. All right, so hard light, soft light. Questions before we get a little funky. It's funky time, right? I went fast today.
Only at 45 deep.
Hmm?
It's a little bit.
Okay, if it's not relevant, then I'm going to throw you out. All right, here we go. Go.
Relevant to the throw of the light. I wanted to get
Okay.
I wanted to get a Godox reflector that's like 5 inches.
Okay.
That
You wanted to get a 5-inch reflector?
You know, those aluminum things that you put on the
I'm sorry, did I just smash your
Excuse
toe?
me.
Excuse you, Erica. You're saying the reflector for the front of the light?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you're using a flash and you have a reflector on the front that's only 5 inches, it would be hard if
You're, far
If-
away.
it's smaller than the
Oh, it's
subject.
smaller than the subject,
Right. So yes, and no.
Will it be as hard as if I just use a bare bubble?
If it makes the light bigger, right,
It's so,
then it makes it softer. Exactly.
Stage light.
It is like a stage light. I focused it. There you go. So I want to control the light fall minor, so I'm going to focus it. Right? I have a little focus action here. Now, when you focus a light, one thing that it does is it does actually intensify it, right? So look at how bright that is, right? Oftentimes people say, let's say a grid. People have grids like, I put a grid on because it focuses my light. No, it doesn't. A grid reduces the way the fall off of the light. It drops in your angle of spread. Focusing the light will amplify the amount of light that you're putting out. So since I've now focused this light, it's got hecka bright. I can't say hell. I might have just said it actually.
You did, yep.
Damn it. All right. Oh, I took a shot again by mistake, but it's pretty good. All right, it went down. That's 2 stops, right? That's Erica. If you see Erica like that, you better run. That's Erica creeping on you. All right, here we go. All right, good. So now we've tightened the light circle, right? I'm gonna come in like this, right? And now it's still hard, right? And now but see, the problem with this is, or it's not a problem, but if you don't want the light to be able to bounce around, right? I have so much less light to work with, right? If I need to bounce a light in, oh, let me give myself again. Like, it doesn't start doing anything till there, right? So that's terrible, right? Or it's great, because if you're in a situation where, remember, everything bounces your light, right? So if you're in a situation where there was, let's say, a wall over here and I didn't want light to bounce back in, having a light that I can focus and control is going to allow me to not have my light go where I don't want it to go. Control is one reason why we use small light sources. That's why it's a good idea as you start to grow as a photographer to start working with smaller light sources, which just means that you end up having to learn how to work with hard light, right? So it's definitely something to really look into and start working with, because it will make a difference in what you shoot. All right, so let's do this. We did that. Should we combine them now? Yeah, all right. We're gonna combine hard and soft light, right? So there's lots of ways to do it. I'll do it the typical way first, because why not? I am a very typical person. All right, so I'm just your typical photographer. So when you're here, right, and you're about to make a portrait of Erica, you're like, I gotta make a portrait of Erica. So, and you have a hard light and a soft light, right? The first thing that you're probably gonna do is use the soft light as your key, right? Because generally speaking, that's a good way to go. So let's do that. That's the typical way. We're gonna use a soft light, which in this case is the light panel. Ugh. Holy guacamole. All right. Okay. Did I mention there's like a sale on this or something? I already said that. Okay, good. All right, so here's the light panels Gemini. Seth put the link. Well, yeah, we'll put some color out of this thing. Not yet, though. Stay tuned to the end of this video if you'd like to see the color. Sorry, I had to do it. I hate that. I know. So we're going to use the soft light as our key. Now I want to have some, I know I want to put some hard light maybe from the back, or to have some light on the background. So I'm really feathering it off hard this way. Plus I know Erica has a great profile. I love Erica's profile. Not like her Facebook profile, although your profile on Instagram is good too. All right, turn, yep, there she is. We're going to have this nice soft light caressing across her face. Okay.
Very close to
I am very close. Maybe I'll use a little bit of a longer lens. Let me go to 35. I was right up in your grill. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna bring the light in like this, and I'm going to, again, I'm gonna look through the meter, look through the camera rather, and adjust my meter. It's saying it's underexposed, so I'm gonna give myself a little bit of juice. Now remember, I like it to be a little underexposed based on my previous thing, so I'm gonna leave it about 1/3 of a stop. I'm gonna take a shot. Don't even have to look through the camera. Look at that. She's like, what's going on? Now we have the nice soft light, right? Nice soft light going across her face. It looks pretty good. The background's fading off to gray behind her. You could use a series of flags and all kinds of complicated stuff to get the light off the background, or you could just go, I like the background like that, which is what I'm gonna do. You know, I don't like my background has to be plain. I like a little bit of gradation on the background, but the simplest way to do it here, if you didn't want that, would be to move her further away, right? We can move her away from the background, we can move the light away from the background, but I like this because I only have 2 lights, and I want to, you know, get the maximum use out of them. I am gonna get a little bit lower. And I'm gonna back up a smidge. No, you're good. You're always good. Yeah. This is just like using a view camera. Okay. All right, here we go. Oh, double tap. Good. All right, so I'm gonna do a little bit more of a bigger composition. Right? It's like the light's coming through here, right? Now, I have my hard light. There's a lot of things I could do. I could use it as a fill, right? I'm not a big fan of using a hard light as a fill because hard lights often are gonna throw a shadow whether you want it to or not, and you don't want 2 shadows. So first I'm gonna do the thing that you shouldn't do because I always say don't do it and I never show you, so I'll do it. So when you look at photo books and they tell you where to put the lights, right? You've seen these photo books, right? They put the light here and put the other light here. Don't do that, right? Never do that. That's you know, I'm gonna show you why. So our light's here. So I'm gonna effectively put this light here. Will I get paid more if I do bad light? Yes, I will. Indeed. Ooh, we can change the color temperature by mistake. There we go. All right, so we're gonna pump this thing up. I'm gonna focus it a little bit to make it more obvious. Let me see you. Let's see if we can get that double shadow going. Actually, this looks pretty good, so I'm just gonna shoot it because you never take a bad shot just because you want to prove something. First, we're gonna take the good shot. So that's filled in. That actually doesn't look terrible, right? That actually, it's a little hot. But, you know, I like it hot.
Yeah, but
That's a little too hot, though. This did not prove my point, though, so forget everything I was saying. But it goes to show you that even though you think something, right? The reason why I didn't do what I was gonna do, and I will show you in a second, is because this light's not strong enough. But this looks pretty damn good, so I'm actually gonna, Erica wants this shot, so I'm gonna make it, she'll get mad at me if I don't do a good job. All right, so I'm gonna, again, I'm gonna underexpose it so it looks correct. There we go. Right? Yeah, we don't have the double shadow because our fill light's not strong enough. So I could either turn that one down, or I can just do this. What makes your light brighter? Put it closer, right? If your light's not bright enough, there we go.
Found it.
There's the light right there, Erica. You see it?
I got it, yeah.
Okay, good. I'm gonna make sure it's there. All right. I'm gonna go like that. Good. And I do not like that you can't see the actual exposure as we go. So we're starting to get like weird shadow stuff. We have a shadow here, and then we also have a shadow coming back this way. It's not super, super obvious all the time, but as you start to look at things, things will just look weird. It'll be like, why is that eye dark, yet that's where the light is? And you don't really want that, right? What you want is for your light to feel natural as possible. So try to not put your fill light opposite your key. What you really want to do is put your fill light either on axis, so on axis with your camera, meaning directly from the camera position. So if I'm shooting Erica here, back to where I was.
Hello.
I always screw everything up when I try to take a bad photo. All right, there we go. Deet, deet, deet. You know what that was? What is the what?
Benefits of doing capture one is in a Lightroom.
Capture one. What?
Said it like 3 times. What's the major benefits of using Capture One over Lightroom?
Benefits of Capture One over Lightroom. You can watch the video that we did on tethering if you want to go through that. All right, so let me adjust this. All right, so give me a second. I'm getting my exposure back where I want it. About f4 at 125. All right. Good. All right, so we're back to where we were. Enough playing around. Okay, good. So let's I actually like that better too. So there, we're in a better spot than we were before. It's always good that you end up in a better spot than you were before. So what we want to do is we want to add a little bit of interest to either a separation light or we want to light the background. So let's first light the background, because I think that's a fun way to do it. All right, so we have our hard light, which we think is going to be the better option for that. I can do a little spot. Oh yeah, look at that. I really wish I could see the exposure properly. That would be a lot better, but yeah, right? We can do that. A little spot of light on the background, not bad, right? Easy as that. What's that? We've avoided the hair clip the entire time until now. Turn your face slightly this way so we don't see it. There we go. I'm giving her a halo, right? So we could do that, right? We just throw some light on the background to make like a circle of light. What we can do though, actually, too, to make it a little more interesting is we could, since we can adjust color temperature, we can actually make this thing warmer, let's say. I like warm backgrounds, right? Let's see what we got there. Right, so we can do that. That's a color temperature thing. I know people like that, right? Feels good, right? A little warmness in the background, a little sunlight coming through. No, the sun would never look like that, right? Would it? What would the sun look like if it was coming through? Right? Not like that, right? Now, what it might look like, though, we have to put a plant. Now, remember what I said about hard light throwing shadows. What a hard light may allow you to do if you have the correct tools, like I do. You got the stuff Daniel has. This is a projector. Hard light through a projector, right? This is going to allow me, first of all, I could throw like a, this is a, oh, let me show this is the DP 1.1. That's my announcer voice. This is going to allow me to throw the light and throw patterns with the light, because I'm going to project a pattern. Hard light will allow me to throw a pattern, because remember, I threw her shadow in the beginning, right? That was a pattern. So you could take a piece of foam core board and like cut up a bunch of slats in it and throw a pattern in the background. We've done that before. Sometimes called a cookie. But then that makes me hungry when I say that. So. But this is a projector. It's just a more refined tool, right? What happened, Erica? My thing's really tiny now. Look how little it is. All right, so see how little it got. So that, and, it allows you to get a good. Oh, we can do a cookie too. We'll do that after. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw our circle of light on the background, right? Now we have like more of a spotlight, right? Because it's a projector, it's lenses, right? We can control it. Let's make a. It's almost like she's like a cartoon now, like cut out with like a circle, right?
Now it's the moon.
Now it's the moon. The moon's behind her, right? Ah, when will my lost love come to visit? All right. Right, so, but what we can do with the projector, oh good. For a second I didn't think I had the window. After I said the whole thing about the window, I didn't have a window. I happen to have a window. I know, right? There we go. There you are, right? And we can control the sharpness of the window. There we go. Little noir. Oh, I feel like I put it in funny though. Hold on. There we go. Now, depending on where the sun is, right, we got to put the window at the right angle. I guess it would be over there, right? There we go. And we can make it, we'll make it sharp. We'll be like more noir. And we'll go a little soft, because we don't want to be too sharp, because that won't make sense, right? Actually, it will. The sun will be sharp. I'm doing this, Erica. I'm making this sharp.
Okay. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Boom, right? Now we have this like completely out of place window pattern, but you get the idea. We can throw patterns, right? We can throw shapes, with it because the hard layer is allowing us to have that control. But the window could look like that. If a car's driving by, exactly.
Nice.
It's a little bit more moody. We're going to do like a silhouette.
Cool.
Yeah. I didn't do it on purpose, but I'm trying to pretend like I did. Oh, look, a little green light comes out of front of this. There we go. Silhouette. Now, can we get the light turned back? What actually happened? I think maybe we unplugged it again. Oh, this, you know.
I got it.
Yeah, I feel like this extension cord is not the best.
It is not the best.
Okay.
That's why I gave it to you.
Yes. I mean, I can't complain because I didn't bring my own extension cord, but I will anyways. All right, so now we've got window pattern. She's like, oh, I can't go out because there's no good movies playing in the cinema.
I wanted to go to the sock hop.
Right, so we can do that, right? We can throw patterns, we can control the sharpness, that kind of stuff. We can also put it on.
It's my rear window moment.
Right, exactly. We can also throw the window. What's that?
Shoot with the key. I have to look through the blind.
That's what I'm doing. She's looking, all the blinds are this way though. Yes.
Where are they? Where am I going? This way?
The moon is coming through the blinds, although it's the moon, why is it so yellow? I don't know, we're not sure.
Maybe
So
it's
I'll-
early morning sun.
Yeah. Oh, it could be early morning sun. We could do that too. So actually, first of all, let's fix that because it's really yellow.
Can you do this with a flash?
Can you do it with a flash? No. They do make projectors for flashes. Actually, Datalight makes a projector that goes on, it's an attachment for a Pro Photo, and I have seen other ones as well that are not, yeah, and there's Gobo stuff. It's not the same. Oh, that's perfect. Where you are is perfect. Let me adjust my exposure. Yeah, and we have, actually, there's a, that's so interesting. It's so sharp. Wow. But again, you can control that, right? I can make it more, or less sharp if I want. I won't have that noir quality. Like, let's say I just wanted to break up on her, you know? Can you look towards the light so I can see it?
Oh, sorry.
You're okay. Like, let's say I wanted like that, right? This is the control of having a projector, right? So we can control the hardness or softness of the shadow break by focusing the light as well.
Why don't we try without the Gemini and just have like
Yep.
her eyes in the lead?
Since we did an entire black and white session last time, we can't do black and white today, but I'm only allowed to do one black and white a year.
Kind of true.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to basically work this more like a, oh, that's nice. Hold. It's terribly underexposed, it looks like. However, I don't believe that. So I'm going to stay there for a second. I'm just going to take a shot and see. No, I should have believed it. No, that's about right. Okay, so it's a little underexposed, right? Again, the meter says I'm 3 stops underexposed. I am not 3 stops underexposed. If I went like this, I moved all my tools.
Well, if you spot meter, it's different.
Yeah, exactly. You know? So what you need to do in these situations is get your base and then figure it out. I think like that's probably pretty good. That's about, it's 0.62. So I can adjust the light. I mean, there's a lot of things I could do, but I'm going to just give myself more ISO in this case. I like giving myself more ISO. It's my new thing.
Let's focus the light on
Yeah, then we can also focus the light. Yeah, and this is now creating more of a moody scene, right? We're getting even look at her hair because the hard light's throwing the shadow. What are you saying?
Let's focus the lines on her and put them back.
Right, if we focus the blinds on her, then the background will likely go out of focus. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Look towards the light like you're creeping. There we go. Because this kind of thing is like a lens. There's only one thing that's in absolute focus, right? So if I focus on her, the background will go more out of focus, right? Easy as that. I think it's too dark, too dramatic, and this is where balance comes in, right? We can just take this now, and instead of putting it at 80,000 million power, or 1/3 power, I can dial it, whoa, way down. Let's say to there. Let's try that. One more. You know, and again, you could use a reflector, blah, 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 but now we're starting to bring back some detail in the shadow side with a fill light, right? Need a little bit more, I think. So that right there is 0.5. I'll give it 1.
1%.
1%. There we go. There we go. Now we're coming up, right? Because the thing is, as I mentioned before when I was talking about the sunlight, if there really is a light coming through the window and it is lighting the room, very rarely will only that spot be lit because light, the inverse square, right? Light moves around. So like if you're in a sunlit room and you're standing by the window, yeah, you're lit by the sun and you're brighter than the rest of the room, but the rest of the room is not completely black, right? And that's what the mistake a lot of photographers make when they're trying to emulate windows. Windows generally light the entire room on some level. So if you're trying to recreate more realistic light, you need to think about how light is, right? So that's one reason why we use soft lights and we back them up is so we have that spread. But yeah, see now we're starting to come in with like a little bit of a little feel.
Let's make her warm.
You want the light on her warm?
Yeah, no, let's make this.
The Gemini warm? Go for it. All right, Seth is going to make the Gemini warm because it's always fun to start playing around with color. Color, right, is going to help set the mood and the vibe of it, right? Inside your house, you know, generally speaking, the light inside is generally warmer, or it used to be anyways, back in the day.
It's like bouncing off of wood floors.
Yeah, bouncing off wood floors. You've got, you know, if you're using tungsten lights or even just the lights that they generally market as like indoor lights, we probably, she's still getting a catch light there. Probably,
Pretty nice.
yeah. See if we can just fix this so we don't get so much hair shadow on your face. Yeah, and then maybe turn almost completely towards the other light. This light.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm awake.
No, you're good. I'm just curious what that is. There's like, it's making like a little mask on your face. See? She has a little mask. See it? Sorry. Sorry, I'm not allowed to play around, all right? Forget it. All right, I don't like where that's falling. So I'm just going to move it. There we go. There we go. Let's try that. Of course, now it's off the background a lot, so that might be a problem too. Oh yeah, that's kind of interesting too. It's just creating this interesting, you know, light. Again, using shadow pattern. Let's have you look towards the light for one. And I'm going to change this. Yeah, let's make it really warm because she's not going to be looking at it. Towards this light, I'm sorry, Erica. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, let's bring it like super warm. Maybe even bring the exposure up a little bit.
I mean, I'm at 27.
Make it 28 and a half.
No, 2700.
Oh.
I went warmer, right?
No, it's fine then. If you're gonna, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start playing. I don't want to. How complicated do you guys want to get?
Very.
All right. All right. So this is 2700. That's as low as it goes, right? Color temperature wise. It's still not warm enough for me. So what I can actually do is I can take my key light, which is at 5500, and I can move it to I think it goes to 6000. So I'll try. This goes to 6800, right? This one goes to 11. So I'm going to move this one to 68. This doesn't move, right? I'm going to shoot the picture, then I'll adjust to 6800 on the Kelvin. That should neutralize this light. Let's see. And effectively, the 2700 will become warmer. So right now, she's going to be coolish. Now I'm going to come over here. Yeah, I mean, it already looks good because it's cool, but let's just neutralize it because, right? Then that's neutral, right? But I actually kind of like it a little cool. I think let's what the difference goes. Let's go 6000 maybe. There we go. If we go 55 like it was, and again, now we're just tweaking. Because in the end, right, when you're using a digital camera, right, like this, because it's one of these things people would say to me, they'd be like, Daniel, I don't like using tungsten lights because it's warm looking. When you use a digital camera, as long as you're white balancing against it, you can have a lot of control. So you don't have to be like, oh, I'll set it daylight and then this one's warm. You can also make your key cooler, and that will make the rest of the lights warm, right? You can play around. You don't have to just be in one direction. Make sense? All right, I didn't want to get too far off topic, but that was pretty good. Oh, that's kind of nice. You're kind of like more, oh. I have to turn off the motor drive. Oh, that's interesting. It's a little dark. It's a little dark. And I don't want to blow out my highlights, so I think I'll bring this around. Try one more at this direction, and then we're going to try something else. Yeah, so there you go. So you get that blue. Actually, let me get more of it on the background so we can see how blue it is. On her face, it doesn't look that blue, right? Because your mind neutralizes it. But if you look at the wall, right? Let's take a peek at that wall. You're going to see on the wall how blue it feels, right? And that's the light on her, has that blue feel to it. And also probably if you look at like inside of her eyeballs, you know. But her face, because her skin tone by its nature, and Erica's skin is already warm, you're not really noticing it even over here where it's just fully lit by the one. Make sense? Okay, cool. One more thing, I think? Let's do one more thing. We always like to do one more thing. Just one more thing. Yeah, we got time. All right. I'm going to take off the projector. Now it's way brighter. The projector does eat light, of course, so keep that in mind. Almost anything you put in front of your lens is going to make the light, I should say your light is going to reduce the amount of light coming out of it. There's very few things that don't just do that, so keep that in mind whenever you're adding things on. All right, let's see. So we did the soft light as the key, and then we added this. Although technically that was a hard light key, but I'm going to do this. Let's create something a little bit more moody. So we can use really this hard light, right? And again, moving it in close to have a lot of control as to where the light falls. Yeah. Let's kill this for a second. I'm going to use that, but oh yeah, oh. I just see your eyelashes are lit, which is really cool. So let's see. Yeah, that's nice. Do that. All right, we'll bring this in. We're just going to light up part of her, and then we're going to bring the other light in for effect. So what you want to do is try to not waste light. Like no matter what you're doing, right? And what I mean by that, I'm about to point out, is as I'm positioning her and getting this like really tight light that's kind of moody on her face, I'm also aware of this, right? I like how you tried to look. Do you want to take the computer? He's like, I'm going to look here. Yeah, see this here? That's giving her three-dimensionality. If that light wasn't there, you wouldn't see where she ended, right? She'd fall into it. Be aware of your frame, right? All these things make a difference. This has that closet door opened up kind of creepy mood. Also, it's very cool because of my white balance. So let me actually fix that. So I'm not sure I like it being so cool. It's funny how warm 55 seems after I just said that. All right, so let's get the creep going. Good. There we go. See, it's just, even here, I kept it here just a little bit, right? Separation, right? We're creating this mood coming in. Now we'll do the opposite. We'll make the shadow side cool, right? Just to kick it in a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna light the whole wall. Nope, that's the gain. Go green, rather. So let's go here. Let's make this guy 6K. Let's look at that. Oh, interesting. Whenever you're lighting, it's important to like look, make some kind of a statement, and then just like touch your light. You don't have to actually do anything. It just makes the models feel like they're doing something new. Okay, let's see what that does. Again, we're trying to use color as contrast, right? So I'm bringing the wall, just a little bit of light on the wall. It's cool light, right? There is a little bit hitting that side of her face too, right? It's subtle, subtlety.
Want to do a straight up color?
That went in slow motion. What's that?
Want to do like a straight up color?
Yeah, we can do like a straight up color, like straight up.
Let's see.
You guys don't want to have a blue background? See, I made a blue background. Actually, I like that. Oh. Well, that doesn't work. No, we need a melancholy.
I'm working on
All right. I mean, she's doing like a really moody thing, and he's like, I'll do pink. Oh, jeez. We have to have that warning the Stranger Things has about the strobing on this thing.
What do you want to do?
I want moody, like something, yeah. Ooh, yeah, that's very,
Then
yeah.
not do orange and blue like the rest of the world.
No, I'll do purple. Isn't that like cobalt blue though?
That was
Oh, that's
Nile.
all lights.
Oh, rose.
Oh yeah, let's do rose. All right, we're doing it.
You are you like pink, right?
Yeah,
You
all right,
are
we're doing
really
it.
like pink. All right.
All right, so we're just gonna do a test shot and see what this looks like. Okay, yeah, as thought, it's very, very bright, which is actually adjustable here, because you brought it to 99 instead of
Where we were.
1.2 or whatever it was.
Do not touch that.
Yeah, sure.
Color modes are different.
Okay. There we go. Right. Now notice, right? No, I love it. Yeah, exactly. Like her hair, right? It's throwing shadow, and because it's a hard light, each individual hair is throwing its different shadow. It's not throwing this like blocky shadow, right? It's really adding texture and mood. I'm gonna give it a little bit more light here. Again, look at it and be like, Right. That's nice. She's like, what does he do to the light? Why is it so good? And then boom, you're there, right? And you're creating this. Actually, I want more hair on your face though. Wow, for some reason you look super young. Well, just in that particular shot. Normally you look super old. Well, compared to the previous shot. There we go. Right? And let's work here. Yeah, work slightly this way. Good. And then down like this. Good. Right, we're just gonna move her around. There we go. That's it. Good. Right? And we're just moving her around through the light, letting the shadows create and shape. Oh. Nice like that. Good. That's it. Right? And this is all, I'm just shooting a series so you guys can see. As she moves, the hair is gonna throw different shadows and different patterns and see what's really working to create. We kind of want enough to grab onto though, right? So this is too much, right? We want to basically have a shot like here, right? Where even though, her nose is super bright, like, oh, her nose is bright. Yeah, but that draws you in, right? And plus Erica has an amazing nose. Yeah, she can sniff like the best of them. Actually, so look right, yeah, there we go, that's good. That's it. We can also just mostly have the pink light be on us. And what we can do here is, if I want to work with the pink light a lot, I can make an adjustment at my camera. I'm going to bring myself up to ISO 500, and I'm just going to come in here, and I'm going to dim this guy. Down about that much. Like that, about a third. I'm trying to balance them out a little bit more. There we go. See, it's all about balance, right? Now we're letting this light take over a bit and letting that one be a little more subtle, right? Mixing them in, bringing them in. So don't think that like your soft light has to be your key, because sometimes you want to work with the texture and the form and the shape if you're trying to work with something that has that. Questions? Thoughts? Concerns? Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, there are questions. Yep. Go ahead.
I noticed you're using your
Uh-oh.
grid, and you use your grid to frame your shots all often.
I'm not using a grid. He said, I know you're using a grid.
No.
See how he made.
Camera.
In the LCD.
Oh, I am? Yes, I am.
Well, actually,
Am I?
yeah, you are.
I have a grid. Yeah. I have a grid in my camera. Yes, I use it all the time, apparently.
Would it apply to the rule of thirds mostly?
No, okay, so being serious, the grid is useful if you want to make sure that I am always crooked. Like I'm notoriously crooked, shooting crooked, so I like the grid just to keep things line straight. I do not use it to do the rule of thirds. There is a rule of thirds grid, but I don't have it in there. No, but it does exist. I just, and I'm not actually really using it anymore. I got her more centered, actually. But no, I don't use the grid for composition, if that's what you're asking me. But see, nobody else knew that except for you, because you were right here. That's why I was like, what? No, so yes, he's giving you a hard time. There is a grid mode in your camera. I don't use it for composition, but if it helps you, yeah, go for it. Other questions? No? Yes?
I'm pretty much a novice. I'm just looking
Oh.
at your opinion on the apps that have like deep contrast and saturation. What do you prefer that I move 3 or 4 tones?
So adjusting contrast and saturation in post?
Yeah.
I mean, what I would say is, I try to get that stuff. If you want an image that's more contrasty, I would say to try to light it as such. There is this kind of philosophy, though, especially in filmmaking, you see it, where people tend to shoot flatter. And I would do that on a commercial project if I was worried, right? So it really depends on what you're doing. If you are shooting for somebody else and you like it more contrasty and stuff, and you fear that they might not, a good way to do it is to shoot it flatter and then make those adjustments in a tethering software like I'm using. So for instance, I could go in to this. I'll try to find a flat one in the beginning. So I could take a shot like that, and let's say that's pretty flat, right? But I like it more contrasted, but I want to be safe, right? I could come in here and, this is a raw file, so I could actually come in and like add, oh my God, I could crunch it down and like mess with it and make it terrible or whatever. Like, let's say I like that. I'm like, oh my God, this is just like what they have on Instagram. And there I am, right? I love that, right? But I'm nervous. Like, I'm like, oh, maybe the client won't like that later. If I shot it like that, I mean, I would never, it would be so hard to bring it back. So what I'll say is if you're unsure or you're new, it might be smarter to shoot a little bit flatter. Yes, that's not a bad way to be. Other questions? No? Wow. All right. You sure? Last chance. All right, good. Are we there? All right, we're pretty much there. I don't know when I'm back. August 8th, I think. I'm back on August 8th. So if you guys are around, come see me. I'm Daniel Norton. You can follow me on social, Daniel Norton Photographer. Seth is last ex-witness. Erica Lynn, NYC. Erica Lynn, NYC is Erica. We myself and Seth are doing a critique on Judah Blah.
Whatever that date is.
Tell me the date, guys. There is no date. There must be a date. It's at the end of July. We're going to tell you in a second. What's that? Or August, yes. I'll be here on August 8th. I think it's oh, really?
Hold on. You're back on August 8th.
August 8th, I'm back.
August 28th is the critique.
August 28th is a critique. If you guys are local, so I'm sorry, online people, you got to be here. You submit. The event has in it how to do it. Submit to that, and you need to be here. We don't talk about anybody's work unless they're here. So do that if you'd like.
Our workshops in August.
We also, if you guys don't know, some of you have been now. Myself and Seth are doing workshops in our studio, so check out us on social and you'll find the information for that. 1200sessions.com has all the, thank you. He's so good. Well, I don't know.
Do I gotta get a mic?
Well, you make me nervous because you're like, 1200sessions.com, you can see that stuff. Thanks, guys. Erica. Oh, yeah, and by the light panel thing, this was really good, actually. The link's in the chat if you guys want to see that. Thanks, guys.
The paid workshops